So in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at a vehicle that was known to be in the Droids cartoon with the adventures of C-3PO and R2-D2. We all know about the A-Wing, which they did make the A-Wing and it did exist, and that one actually, you could put batteries in it and it had the battle alert sound. So that was pretty cool. They remade that one in the 90s and it did not have the batteries, so it didn't make any noise or anything like that. So we all know about the A-Wing. So with this vehicle, known as the White Witch, from that Droids cartoon series, they never made that toy. Now I have seen another 3D print of this model on YouTube. I believe there's another Star Wars collector out there who had somebody 3D print them the same exact thing, but it was actually more similar to this one that you guys are looking at here on the screen. So this is actually in a book that I have, which this is the book right here, and it's in the back of the book, so I just thought that was really cool. Now I ended up having James from Vintage Kenner Parts make this for me, and I said, hey, I want to get the White Witch, and are you able to 3D print that model? Now he was able to do it, and whenever I got it from him in the mail and opened up the box, it was actually in different pieces, so I had to put all that together, and I took it over to my brother's house, and this is the day that I took it over to his house. And my brother actually paints car models and things like that, so I was able to get him to paint this for me. So it was there for a few months and he got it done. So I know a lot of you collectors out there, you know, you're not a fan of the Droid cartoon series or the Ewok cartoon series, which I can understand, but I actually find interest in those, and you know, it's actually really cool that they were doing that back in the day. So to have a collection towards those series is pretty cool. Now, as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, I went and collected the action figures for the Droids cartoon series, and I am currently working on the Ewok cartoon series right now, but I wanted to have the White Witch with this collection, regardless if it's 3D printed and it's custom made. I thought it would be really cool. Now, I am going to go over this a little bit more with you guys and show you guys the details of this ship. I'm more focused on the vintage Star Wars play sets and, you know, just vintage Star Wars itself, but I've been getting rid of a lot of my fill-ins that I use for my play sets and reproduction action figures that I had just to have for fill-ins until I got the real action figure. I do have all of that on eBay, but I really wanted the White Witch. I mean, that thing is pretty cool when you see that thing in the cartoon, and you know, it sucks they never made this you know, back in the 80s. I will give you guys a closer look at this ship and we will check it out. Again, my friend James at Vintage Kenner Parts can hook you guys up with this model right here, and it will look just like the one that I have. Now, if you guys can find that other video here on YouTube, there is another one. I forget the YouTuber's name, but he definitely has this as well, and it looks, again, it looks similar to the one that's in the book. This is how it turned out whenever I took it to my brother's house and I went to go pick it up. This is how he did it. Now the decal on the front of the ship, James also was able to make that, so he can get the decal made for you guys. Now my brother painted this, like I said. Now he did a little bit of weathering on this thing, which is actually pretty cool, so it's not just, you know, completely white. So I think that was kind of cool. He kind of surprised me with that. Now, as you can see on the very front of the ship, there is that little strip there for the decal. Now, that is the thing that I was telling you that James also made for this, which is that little red striped area right here. Now, overall, this thing is freaking awesome. I mean, this is pretty cool. My brother tried to match up the blue and the purple as much as he could. He actually had to pause the cartoon a lot so he can kind of match up with the ship from the cartoon, because again, you know, this model here, this looks a lot different than the one that's in the book. So, you know, it doesn't even match that one whatsoever. There's actually a lot of differences between this model compared to that one, which it's okay. You know, it doesn't really bother me. It does look just like the White Witch, so I just think that's pretty cool. Now, the seats for the inside, my brother, he was having a hard time with that, so he kind of went from like a, I think that's like a burgundy brown color in there for the seats, and I thought that was okay because it looks red in some of the scenes in the cartoon, and it also looks like a dark burgundy brown, I guess, but I don't know. Again, this toy was never made, so you got to just go off of what you see from the cartoon. Now, I'll give you guys, you know, a really good close-up on this thing. Now, I got two of these railings right here. My brother painted this one. It is removable, so you can remove that, because here's the thing. You can put Thal and Jord inside of this, you know, or you can have them displayed outside of the ship. I do have a reproduction Droids Cartoon R2-D2 in there right now. I didn't want to put my real one in there. I kept that guy just to put it inside the White Witch. The seats, you can't really fit the figures in there with the seats. You have to, my brother taped them down for right now. I want to use magnets, but you're going to have to, you can tape or glue the back seat in, but you're going to have to remove the front seat, and that's the only way you can get the action figures in there, because you can snug those guys in there by doing that. I think I'll have the guys hang out outside of the ship and display it that way. But yes, this is the White Witch, and again, James from Vintage Kenner Parts is the guy who 3D printed this model right here. Now, as you guys can see on the bottom, there is a stand for this vehicle that I was talking about, and on that stand it does say White Witch, you know, to identify this vehicle. You can remove the stand from the ship alone. I want to give you guys a really good look at this thing. Again, my brother, you know, he paints these Mopar model kits, and, you know, like Dukes of Hazzard, you know, the General Lee, and just a lot of Mopar vehicles and things. So I figured, hey, I can't do any of that, so I'll get him to paint this. I mean, that's cool. You can see how it looks a little weathered on there with the white. And again, you know, James made this little decal here, so that's pretty cool. My brother had to paint that to match up with that red. So yeah, man, I mean, that's cool for, you know, a custom ship. And here's the details on that part of it. Which is really cool. So we got the details back here of the engine, and then the bottom of the ship itself. Let you guys see that up close. That's really neat, man. This thing's really cool. I wish they would have made this back in the 80s, if I got to be honest. I mean, I know a lot of you guys were a little older at that time, and, you know, grew out of Star Wars, or just didn't, you know, watch cartoons because you guys were older. But it's still part of Star Wars, and it is original, kind of, because it is from the 80s. But for repro and, you know, custom and all that, this is really cool. Now, the details, if I can show you guys, he even has like the little computer screens and everything inside of here, which is really cool. It's kind of hard to get in there, but that's it's really cool. Of course, R2-D2 here just goes in and out, just like an X-Wing. So that's really neat. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this thing. I want to know. I mean, would you guys put this with your droids collection just to have it? You know, I mean, they didn't make it, so, you know, why not go ahead and add it inside of your collection? I just wanted to share this with you guys and let you guys know you can get the same exact model here. You just gotta message James, and I'm sure he can help you guys out. May the Force be with you guys. Take care, Star Wars collectors.